Um, First off, Team Cup, for right now, we have 5 of us, and, that's how many we need, and I do think it's kinda nice that we have, like, a strong 5 of us, that all have experience, right? Like, there's not anyone brand new. And so I think I'm just gonna leave it at that. I was kind of debating trying to see if I had any, like any of the conversations that I'm having for the Sunday call, if any of them would be, interested in getting started and hopping on. But I feel like that sometimes with Team Cup, there's like this inherent pressure, especially if you're with other experienced coaches, like to hit Success Club. And if you don't, like you're letting the team down, right? And I really don't want that of anyone that's like just starting out. That's not what this is about. And I don't want that, right? Or for them to feel like they don't know what's going on and they're one of the only ones, right? So, anyways, I have all the information from everyone. Since I'm your upline, I know your email address, your coach ID, and all things. So I'll just make sure to get us registered by the end of the month. And then, yeah, we'll all get. I am thinking we need to get in our own thread and do most of our conversating there. Because sometimes I think all the lurkers, because there's quite a few lurkers in the team message thread. I kind of sometimes want them to have like FOMO and not know what we're doing for maybe a month. Maybe I'll post some successes or some encouragement, right? But maybe it'd be nice for them not to have their message chat blow up for a while, just to see. So that's kind of my thought there. And because I really don't, sometimes I pull back from, believe it or not, sometimes I do pull back from sharing things because I don't want to like bombard all the lurkers and the people who like really aren't, I mean, kind of doing this, but not really. And I feel like in Team Cup, if we have our own thread, then I won't, don't worry, I won't like drive you crazy, hopefully. But like just be more specific about our goals and our actions and what we're actually doing. So anyways, that's Team Cup. For the test group, I loved last week, Rachel mentioned doing a challenge of us coaches of sharing something to the group um, over the next week, just to like make sure that we're adding value and going above and beyond a little bit, but then challenging ourselves too to share something. And Abby, you would do an amazing job at this. So it's not, I mean, I feel like you're already doing it, but like I was thinking for this coming week so like before next Wednesday, if all of us coaches in there could share a dinner recipe, I think that is something that I hear over and over again that people struggle with. So it doesn't even have to be like a Fix A or Beachbody On Demand recipe, but just like a real life, like just one of your dinners that you make. The idea, if it's super simple, not even like if it doesn't need a recipe, whatever, right? Like yours is like lettuce wraps or something for lunch, but just something like that. Cause I feel like typically dinner recipes are or meal ideas are the hardest for people. And I'll make sure to put that in the chat too. And then otherwise, did you have any thoughts on the test group? I thought it was going well. I was excited to pop in there and see so many people were like commenting and loving on each other's stuff.
Yeah, no, I think it's good. I had 2 of my 4 people are injured.
Oh no, not because of this, is it?
One of them, she tweaked it like Monday, and
Oh
then the other one
no.
fell. I know the other one fell on the ice, so it had nothing to do
Oh,
with this. But
okay.
but I did notice the one girl was back today, so she must have felt better.
Oh, good. No, but seriously, that step, and then my kids, oh my gosh, my kids are obsessed about whatever piece of equipment I'm on. So they're like a hazard. Like Charlie kept on crawling on top of and laying on top of my step. And I'm like, Charlie, I need this. Like, go play with the ball. So like throw it like a dog, right? Like go he didn't want the dog, he wanted the ball anymore. He wanted the step. And then once I was using the ball, then all he wanted was ball. I was like, oh my gosh. These kids are not used to equipment workouts because they just want all the things.
I think that's the hardest part sometimes is when you do the density, whatever that first, like the 12 minutes, like laying
Yeah.
out, like figuring out like what's the best layout with the space you have.
Yeah. No, I totally agree. Wow, I feel like I went on a huge tangent there. Okay, yeah, test group. I feel like it's going
Test
well.
group,
Okay,
no
good.
idea.
Yes, and I totally, yeah. And I can understand potentially getting injured because there's a few times I was like, I wasn't in really good shape, like, and I still like worry about twisting an ankle or all the things. Yeah. Okay. And then, okay. Oh, the coaching business opportunity call. I just, like I shared in the team thread, I like just started inviting to it and I'm like in panic mode now. And honestly, this is why I knew that I had to run one, because if it was Amber's call, I maybe would get around inviting to it. But if I'm the one running the call, I'm like, I got to get people on here. And now I have one for sure that's going to be on there. So now I'm like, oh, now I really need to get other people on there because I don't want her to come on and be the only one on. Right? So like I knew I needed to put this pressure on myself, but I'm like, okay, it's Wednesday already. You need to get your butt in gear. So yeah, like I said, I first started last night combing through like all of my coaches, discount coaches, and my customers. And I'm trying to just keep it really sweet and simple, especially for people that already are customers or coaches of mine, because they know like a little bit enough. I built that trust, I built that relationship. So I've been really short and sweet with them. Yeah.
Did
And
you
then it's
send
always
that message through the thread? I can't remember.
haven't shared it yet. Would you like me to? I have
Yes.
I have like two different ones. One that like I've sent, so one I send to people who've already kind of talked to about coaching, but it wasn't the right time or one reason or another. And then I have another one for like the first time I'm mentioning it. So I'll make sure to share those. Yeah, you're like, ooh, short and sweet. Maybe I'd actually use it. Oh, and another thing, I feel like this is with all kind of inviting. I totally understand getting in your head, especially invites to coaching. I really still, I don't like inviting at all, to be honest. But I know it's often what needs to happen for them to start that conversation, right? So many people would never start the conversation. Like, how many customers would come up to you and be like, "Hey, I think I'm thinking about coaching." Like, I was even one that was like, "I'm gonna wait." And so my story, I'll be really quick, but I kept seeing Amber posting lead generators about coaching. And on one of them, I even commented whatever she said I was supposed to comment. And she never like messaged me or commented back or anything. And I know she has tons of notifications, so she probably just like overlooked it, right? But I was like, at that point, I was like, I'm never gonna comment again. I'm like, if she thinks I'm coaching material, she can come reach out to me. I was literally like just waiting for her to ask me, literally waiting. So that's kind of my funny story. So like I totally get like it takes a lot of courage to comment on lead generators or to fill out forms. And so I just think it's honestly part of our job to at least break the ice and open a conversation, whether it be about a customer or coach. So anyways, long story short, I still don't like doing it. I know it's part of the job and I've seen so many people jump in because of it. One thing I tell myself with coaching invites in particular is how I felt when I was asked. And that was like, I honestly felt like it was a compliment. I wasn't like, oh my gosh, she's trying to get me to, I don't know. Like I think sometimes we can get in our head and like think that people are going to think the worst of us, but really I thought it was a compliment. I was like, oh wow, she thinks I can do this. And so that's something that I try to remind myself of when I'm going to do it to these coaching invites. If you're doing it the right way, and just like the same with customers, if we're doing it the right way, people will be like, think that they're welcomed and wanted and that they're capable and wanted in our groups, right? Anyways, so that I have one that said yes, and then one that said yes to the recording out of 9 so far. And that was just within the last few hours. So I'm hoping my goal is to get at least 5 on and at least 10 total that are either on or running the recording. So I have a lot of work to do yet. I would just say it's a good idea just to have a goal in mind because then you can work your way to it. All right. And then, okay, I'm going to stop for a second. Abby, did you have anything any questions, anything that you'd like to talk about, anything at all before I go into another rant?
No, I guess back to your like coaching invite. I think there's a lot of people out there who don't even know that that's a thing. Like I just had a conversation with somebody at work. Like she signed up for Beachbody just randomly, like years ago. Now in January, I think her upline or whatever, like got her to buy 9-week Control Freak.
Yeah.
I'm like, darn it. I missed out, but yeah.
I know. I feel like people still don't get it. Did you see my stories the other day? I was like, I tried to lay it out as clear as freaking day.
Yeah, I know.
Like, what's the difference between buying online versus buying through me? You're being a douche if you buy online, but you're a blessing if you. No, I didn't say that, but you know what I mean.
I know. And I think some people just want to be anonymous.
Yeah, no, I know. And especially I think when it comes to their wellness, like, Stacy was talking about that too, about how she wants to check in on people. And I think honestly, sometimes that's why people don't want to sign up with a coach, because they don't want someone messaging them, because then if they fall off the face of the earth, they don't want to be accountable to that.
Right.
Well,
I had a gal sign up in August, I think, and she went radio silent on me, which is fine. And then, so I just check in with her periodically, and then she bought the 9-week Control Freak accessory bundle. I couldn't get her to buy the full thing, but she hadn't even opened her Recover or her Energize from August. Yeah. So like just tonight,
I don't understand that. I don't.
I know, just tonight she was messaging me questions, so she's finally, I think, like, and she's the one who fell on the ice. So.
Oh no! Oh my goodness.
But like she's like, I don't like the Energize, and I was trying to give her tips on like what to try.
I like never hear that. I hear Shakeology, but I never hear like not liking Energize.
Sometimes they come out of the woodwork, I guess, is my point.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. Okay. Anything else?
Nope. I'm just trying to keep plugging away.
Yeah. Keep your head afloat.
Between everything. Yeah.
All right. So the other thing I was just going to share about is I think a lot of people think that, and I for sure thought this, that certain people just like throw up posts and everyone just likes and comments on them. Like, and that's just, some people get likes and comments and some people don't. And I think that's maybe true on some level in some cases, but I can say that I've done and continue to do a lot of work to get the engagement that I get. And I think that is a good thing, because that just shows that it's not like luck and it's not like out of your control. I really think that your reach and your traction and your engagement is completely under your control. And it's not just your content, right? Because like there's certain pieces of content, like that lead generators aren't going to get as much because you're asking for them to join, right? So content definitely plays a factor. The better the content, the more you'll get. But I just wanted to share tonight, just in a little short training, what I actually do when I post, like logistically, to make sure that I get the most eyes that I can, regardless of what the content is. So when I post to Facebook, let me think through this. Okay, so I make sure that all of my pieces are good. Like I have my writing and I have my picture edited and everything like that. And then I go in and I literally look at the time and I go for 10 minutes. I go through my newsfeed, and nearly every single post that I see, I will love on it and do a genuine comment. And it's kind of like a game I do to myself, like how many can I get through? But I try to be as genuine in my comments and as like detailed so they don't think it's like a spammy comment, right? Because I have like the number of friends that they're kind of like, some of them are still cold market. So anyways, for 10 full minutes, I do that. And then I post. And then I go back to my last post, my previous post, right? Not the one that I just did, but my previous post. And then I go into everyone who liked or commented on that post, and I go to their page. And if they have any recent posts, I make sure to do the same. I like and I comment. Because again, I think sometimes we assume that we'll see things in our newsfeed, but you don't all the time, especially once you get a bigger friends list. And so then I go through that. Again, I go to the last post and I go through everyone who's liked or commented and make sure I support them. And then I check and make sure if I still have time, I try to make sure to stay active in the app for at least 15 minutes after I've posted. You can see on your thing, on your post, how long it's been since you posted. And then if anyone comments, I try to respond to every single comment as they come in or whenever I can, because every time that you comment on a post, it helps your traction and it puts it back in the newsfeed. So again, I just want to share that because it is a time investment. And, I think it depends on your piece of content too. Because if it's just like a share of something or like a quote, like it's not that, like it wasn't time intensive for you to do and it's not a lead generator, then maybe you don't want to do that every time. But for sure, for lead generators and for sure, any kind of content that you put time and effort in and you want to have as many eyes as you can on it, I would definitely suggest that. So that's my process for Facebook. And I really just try to think I'm doing unto others what I would want them to do to me, right? And then a lot of times I'm doing way more commenting and loving on people than I'll ever get in return, but that's okay. I find sometimes those people that I continue to like and love on will actually be the ones to fill out my forums and stuff, because they feel like I care about them before. And I think that's huge, because I think a lot of people think that you have to be interesting to get interaction, but I think people more want to know that you're interested in them and you care about them, and then you earn that trust more than just being interesting or cute or whatever in your post. So that's kind of the logic behind it, and I do think it matters to people. And then
I've heard that before and other things that I've been involved in, like what you just said with the Facebook thing. So,
oh, good, then I'm not crazy.
No, you're not crazy.
Well, I've done lots of trainings and stuff from like Bob Heilig and some other social media influencers. And a lot of them call it like warming up the algorithm, like being on the app before you post and stuff. So yeah, I just have to make sure to give myself time limits or I'll do it for way longer than I should. And then it's like, I have other things to do besides just post and comment on people's stuff. And then, let me just make sure I got everything on that one. Okay, yep. And then for Instagram, I don't warm up the algorithm there because I find, and I've went through some trainings there too, the platforms are different. So for Instagram, I post and then I will go into my newsfeed and I will go for 10 or 15 minutes. And I really try to do genuine comments there because so few people comment on Instagram. And especially if it's a genuine thoughtful comment, those people will definitely visit your page to see what you're about. Because again, they might only get your one comment on a post that they did versus on Facebook, usually they'll get more, right? So I do that. So again, I post to my, and I don't know if you guys have gone through trainings. I don't want to overwhelm anyone who's watching this recording too, but so I post and then I should say on Instagram, right after I post on Instagram, I also do hashtags in the comments. I do around 25 to 30. I try to be under 30 because 30 is the limit. And there's lots of trainings on how to find good hashtags, and I'm not going to get into all that, but I will say that for those of you who have been through those trainings, that is a good idea. So post, then put your hashtags, then go to your newsfeed and like and comment for at least 10 minutes. And then I do the same thing. I go back then to my previous post on Instagram and I look who liked and commented on those. And I make sure to go to their page to see if they have any recent posts. And I like and comment on those too. And then again, if I have more time, usually I try to stay on Instagram for a half an hour if I can after posting, because that's just what they said in trainings, and it kind of evens out. If you did 10 minutes before and 15 minutes after on Facebook, that's about a half hour, and then a half hour on Instagram. And again, this is all just like investments of time. So you calculate and do whatever makes sense for you, but I've just found this to be helpful for me.
So why do you put the hashtags in the comments?
Because first of all, I always have very long posts, so I often don't even have the room to put it in the post itself if I wanted to. But in the trainings, they say that it's just more for your viewers' eyes, like for prettiest pretty nice. So when they open it up to read it, they don't see a bunch of hashtags because it's really, they don't care about it, they don't want to look at it. So it's better just kind of to hide it in a comment. It's just as effective there. And then other
You
things.
always post separately? So like I always go to Instagram and then I click
A lot
the
of
Facebook.
people, yeah, a lot of people do that. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I think the way I do it is a bigger investment of time, but I do think I get more eyes on both platforms because I do it that way. And I think I almost need to do that because I put so much time in my posts. It's like super important that I'm getting the return on the investment that I'm putting into each post. But again, if you're doing something just like a quick quote or something simple, then I mean, I don't know if it's worth the time, right? I mean, it's totally up to every person, but I'll tell you a lot of people do that. Just share it from, a lot of people will post on Instagram and then just share it automatically to Facebook.
I didn't know if that was good or bad. So, okay.
No, it's not a bad thing. It's not a bad thing. A lot of people do it. And I think usually in that case, they'll kind of focus their engagement on the platform where they have the most people and the most engagement already. Because it's kind of, the more engagement you have, the more that you'll get, right? So most people focus on one or the other. Most coaches focus on Instagram, and Facebook is just like whatever they can catch, they'll catch. I'm the oddball there. So, and most people do use the same content for both, and I should, but I'm still too much of a perfectionist about my Instagram, like looking, because otherwise, yeah. So I don't do that, but I use the same content. Like if I have post something on Facebook and I want to do something else on Instagram, like I want a quote instead or a transformation instead, depending on how it's looking, then I'll just copy it into a notepad and I'll use it later. Like I never don't post it on both platforms. And another reason why I do that is because I have a lot of the same people on Facebook and Instagram. And I feel like if someone is on Instagram or if someone's on social media that night, they'll likely see it twice, right? But if I did them on different nights, then it's possible that someone wouldn't have seen it. Like if they weren't on when I posted on Facebook, then it'd probably be gone. But if they were on a couple nights later on Instagram, then maybe they'd see it. But that's just kind of like, I don't know. I don't think that's a reason to do it differently, but it's just something I tell myself to be okay with doing it the way I do. And another thing they suggest doing too is if you're decently using stories, at least have like 1 or 2 up on a regular basis, to definitely share it to your stories. And then try to do some kind of teaser in your stories to make them want to go to your post. Whether it be like covering up part of the picture or just writing something that makes people be like, I wonder what that post is about. That'll help bring your eyes to your post too. So that's just another way to get a little bit more out of your posts. I keep trying. I tried a few times to share something that I only posted on Instagram because I rarely do like quotes and stuff on Facebook, but I'll do it sometimes on Instagram. I'm like, follow me. And like, no one does. I'm like, come on, people. So I don't know if like my Facebook people aren't on Instagram or if they're like, she's not worth following. But like hundreds of people see my stories on Facebook. And I would think, if you're into me, why wouldn't you want to follow me on Instagram? So that hasn't worked out for me.
Yeah, I don't have near as many on Instagram as I do on Facebook either.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm like, I'm trying to get people over there, but that's all right. Any other questions about that? And we're already at 9:30.
No, that's good stuff.
Okay, good. That was helpful. All right, I'm gonna stop the recording. How do I do that? Here we go.